All right, guys, this is probably one of the most important videos on ICP that you're going to see. I basically, before my last video was down here, but the price of ICP was in the gutter around $3, and it blew up. It went all the way to $9.50, literally right after my video, because I had said people aren't paying attention to what's going on with Caffeine AI. People don't really understand it. So when is ICP going to actually blow up and actually going to go to like $100 or even higher or even $50? When is this going to happen? So I've been researching, I've been trying to figure it out. And this is why this is a very important video. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit the notify bell, because this is the kind of information that we all need to understand. I pretty much called it last time, and I think I have a very good idea where this is going to go. I've asked certain questions no one else is asking. I've done some research no one else has done, because I see people have a lot of misinformation. They believe that Caffeine AI is part of Internet Computer, and it is not. It is not. This system, Caffeine AI, and I made this other game on it, I made a bunch of stuff on it, is not part of Internet Computer. So I see people, and I made the mistake too. I said the valuation based on Replit and Lovable should be 10 or 15 or $20 billion, and ICP is only worth $2 billion. And I see people now are actually taking that information. So I'm actually one of the people that spread this misinformation. It is actually a separate company, and I understood that, but I didn't understand how it worked. What I have discovered is actually more bullish. In a way, it is better to keep Caffeine AI separate than ICP, and I'm going to show you guys why it is actually even more bullish. Okay, people weren't asking the right questions. I did. I went down the little, I went down it. I researched it, so you guys don't have to waste your time doing it. So, Caffeine AI is a revolution. Okay, if you don't already know, it is a revolution. Like, I even made this betting game. You can actually have a real betting game. You see, I won $25, and you can hook it up to ICP, and you can hook it up to a wallet, and you can take money, and you can do all these things. You can't do this on Replit. You can't do this on Lovable. You can't do this anywhere else. This is real crypto native. Okay, this is a native crypto AI system. It's incredible, and all these games and everything that I'm making, we're gonna put it on this system called, Caffeine Play. So make sure I'll put the link down here. We're actually going to do a pre-sale for Caffeine Play. So these are things that I'm doing in the background where, caffeineplay.com you can go to, built on that website's also built on, guess what? Caffeine AI. So this technology, Caffeine AI, this technology does work. And this is why I'm so bullish. All of this was made by Caffeine AI. Okay. Even this game. And I got so many people who want to partner and do all these great things with us with Caffeine Play. I think it's going to be one of the biggest pre-sales out there in the next, we're thinking about doing the pre-sale in about 2 weeks, about the 16th of December, okay? So, this is real tech. This is real tech. Once Caffeine AI launches, this is going to be huge. This can be leveraged by marketing companies, all sorts of people. But I wanted to go down the numbers. I wanted to show you guys something that we get a full understanding. If Caffeine AI is a separate company, okay? Separate company, ICP is here. What is ICP? ICP is more like AWS than it is Caffeine AI. But does that make it less valuable or more valuable? Well, this is what I discovered. Replit and Lovable are not profitable, meaning they're spending more money on staff, on marketing, on everything than they are on anything, on all that stuff, and they're spending the most amount of money on hosting, because the GPUs take up so much power, especially when it comes to basically the processing power for AI, and the stuff is costing them a fortune. Most of the money isn't going to Replit or Lovable. Most of the money is going out, and guess what? This means that ICP could make more money than Caffeine AI. In fact, it means that this is an incredible, and I've run some incredible numbers you guys are going to see in a second. So, what does all this mean for ICP? It means new developers, new canisters, new ICP locks. More people are going to come into the system, because that's what Caffeine AI is going to do. Caffeine AI raises its own money also. Let's say it raises $200 million. Well, ICP has no way of really raising money without selling tokens, but let's say Caffeine AI raises $200 or $300 million, which Replit and Lovable have raised hundreds of millions of dollars. That money can be used as marketing to bring in more people into the ecosystem. This is bullish for ICP. Now, let's keep going. Okay, Caffeine AI lowers dev friction. Okay, basically it tells you no Rust needed, no nothing, normal devs, AI building, all that. Marketplace, ongoing ICP. sync. Basically, the marketplace will host thousands of apps, games, agents, tools. Take a percentage. Okay, so it basically helps all revenues paid in ICP converted in cycle, burns ICP. So basically, the marketplace is a place where the percentages all get burned. Percentage of everything is going to get burned. So bigger this marketplace gets, based on the money that's raised from Caffeine AI, can make ICP even more bullish. But we haven't got to the big stuff. I'm going to get to the big stuff, okay? Lovable, and this is not it either. Replit and Lovable users will migrate, bringing volume to ICP. This part, I think, is going to be, I think some will, and I think the people that want to basically do like crypto stuff, like I made this game, for example. I made this game, for example. Well, you can't really make this on Replit. I mean, you can, you don't know. It's very difficult to hook up to a wallet and all that stuff. So ICP does that for you. So for example, I'm not gonna, there'll be few people who come over from Replit, okay? But I think this is gonna be different than Replit and Lovable. I think there's a different type of user that's gonna come onto it, okay? So let's keep going. ICP gets the reputation boosts it never had before. That I agree, okay? This I agree. It's going to get this reputation boost that it's never had before, and it's going to also be able to compete with major Web 2 platforms. This is huge because this isn't really something that's happening in crypto right now. You have Web 3 and Web 2, and they're separate worlds. ICP is bringing these worlds together. Okay, so let's keep going. Reflective market impact, increased liquidity and higher valuations, more builders deploying ICP, more cycles of burn. So the cycles are going to be the key. So this is where I went down the rabbit hole so you guys all understand what is going on, okay? More ICP gets locked, more attention hits the chain, more investors rotate to ICP, usage, attention, demand, price, more builders, more users. Okay, this is how Sol went from 3 to 250. This is how AVAX got $1 billion narrative. This is how ETH went to 80 to 4,800. This is kind of correct. And I've been around where all of these went from 3 to 250 and ETH and all these I've been around. There's a narrative that takes place. That narrative is something ICP didn't have before. This is the narrative. And this is powerful. You get the usage. Usage is very powerful. Then you get the attention, then the demand. All of this comes in. All right. AI workloads are the highest value compute loads. This is very important for ICP. Why is this very important for ICP? GPU simulations, inferences, model hosting, all these agent runtimes. This is very intensive. ICP becomes the AWS of AI, but decentralized. Okay? This is actually fucking huge. This is enormous. And AWS is $80 billion of compute a year. Did you guys know that? It's huge. It's an absolute juggernaut. So I'm going to get to the numbers so you guys really understand. It's coming. All right. ICP will, with even 1% of that, becomes a top 3 crypto asset. Do you guys see this? $100. Keep these numbers in mind. ICP with even 1% of this becomes a top 3 crypto asset. Think about it, okay? We're not even there yet, okay? Caffeine AI brings real revenues to the ecosystem. People will actually pay startups, game creators, app builders, Shopify team apps, app teams, AI agent businesses. Keep in mind what I'm trying to do with Caffeine Play. I am way ahead of everybody, okay? I see this coming from a mile away. This is why the people who invest in Caffeine Play, and we're not really even trying to raise that much money, a few $100,000 to start. The people who get into this early and already have partnerships, it's going to be an absolute juggernaut. And I'll put the links down here for you guys to follow it. We're going to try to do a raise in the next 2 weeks, okay? I am way ahead of this, understanding this, and I want to get the wave. Once Caffeine AI grows, I want Caffeine Play to be helping these different app and game developers blow up. That's what my goal is here, to raise that money to help market them. I am way ahead of everyone on this. And this is what I'm really excited about. Okay. And also the Shopify app teams. One of the guy that's a CTO of Caffeine Play. Well, guess what? He has 4 apps making millions of dollars on Shopify. He can now start using, he's realized, Caffeine AI to make those particular Shopify apps. What happens if people on Shopify start making these apps and putting them on Shopify to monetize them? Well, guess what? Caffeine AI now can start powering Shopify, which is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I mean, there's so many different things it can do that you guys aren't even fully understanding yet. Nobody really understands it yet, and that's what I'm trying to do. So let's keep going. Summary, why Caffeine AI is the most bullish thing ever for ICP, even though ICP does not own it, and even though it's separate. I'm going to get into the numbers in a minute. AI, enormous compute demand, high ICP burns. This part you have to understand. When you use AI, it burns a lot more than, let's say, hosting a website. When you use AI services, it uses up an enormous amount of compute. Basically, Caffeine AI will be running at a loss if they raise $200 or $300 million. Well, guess what? They will be spending maybe $300 or $400 million a year on compute, which is going to be going to ICP burns. You guys understand this? This is even more bullish for ICP. In a way, you have Caffeine AI overfunding them, paying them more than they're even bringing in. Caffeine AI is probably going to be losing money for the first couple years. Why? Replit and Lovable are also losing money. I had to look it up. They're losing enormous amounts of money. Well, guess who's getting that money? It's the people that they've hired to generate all the AI compute. That's who's getting the money. And guess where we are? We are the ones that are ICP holders. We are going to be generating the compute power. So basically, even if Caffeine AI, let's say makes $100 million a year, it might spend $200 million a year of purchasing ICP canisters and compute power. Keep that in mind. That is actually important once we get a little bit down this, okay? Marketplace, recurring fees, ICP burns, okay? More developers, more cycles, ICP locked, migration from Replit and Lovable. I don't know how much of that is going to happen. Okay, new narrative attracts VCs, retail, yes. AI workload, highest compute consumption burns more ICP, real revenue, strong economic engine, yes. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, the $29 and $199 a month fees. Caffeine AI is a separate company. Yes, they make money. Okay, separate company. All right. To run Caffeine AI services, they must buy cycles, burn ICP. Keep in mind, we're going to get to the numbers, how we got to $100, okay? This creates direct ICP burn mechanisms, even though Caffeine is a private company, because the users pay $29. Guess what happens? The Caffeine AI has to buy ICP. Caffeine needs cycles to run your queries. Caffeine buys ICP from the market. Caffeine converts ICP to cycles. The ICP is burned during conversion. So Caffeine AI makes money, but ICP burns tokens. And if they're buying $29 worth of tokens, the user might burn $50 worth of ICP compute. Think about that. We are in a more bullish scenario, because before we were thinking, well, if Caffeine AI does $150 million a year, we burn $150 million worth of ICP. That is no longer the case. There is a case where Caffeine AI will do $150 million in revenues, but it might need $250 million in compute from ICP. And they don't have the money. That's why they went to investors and got the money. So they will use this money that they got from investors to come back and guess what? Buy computing power from ICP. We are even more bullish than I even thought, but we're not even there yet, okay? I had to ask how many users are necessary to get to the marks we're talking about, okay? And it made some comparisons. Think of it like this. Netflix is a private company, but AWS still benefits because AWS is what powers Netflix. Let me tell you something. Netflix pays AWS, Amazon, billions of dollars a year, even though they're competitors. It's kind of crazy, okay? AWS makes billions of dollars, but it's just bringing up and streaming, not using compute, AI compute power, which is very, very costly. Why is this extremely bullish for ICP? More ICP per day than the entire SNS ecosystem combined, more ICP than all traditional DApps on it. I mean, it's just basically revenues in, buys ICP, burns ICP, supply shrinks, token appreciates. Let's keep going, okay? So how does Caffeine AI actually profit? Well, Caffeine AI is its own company, so we don't really care. Caffeine AI is going to grow. It's going to have to spend money on marketing. It's going to have to do all those things. We don't have to worry about that, okay? So as long as Caffeine AI grows with marketing, recurring revenues for the company, ICP grows, and the chain burns more tokens. Builders using Caffeine AI they burn even more cycles. So for us, it's important to see Caffeine AI grow, but we don't really have any stake in Caffeine AI. It doesn't really matter if it's worth 10 billion, 20 billion, or 30 billion, or 100 billion, or if one day the valuations go up, one day they come down. We don't care as ICP holders. What we care is that the demand is there constantly, and it's basically growing demand over time. It's going to put pressure on the ICP cycles and the ICP token, okay? Caffeine AI is the best possible customer for ICP. Yes, it is. But this is something no one has ever talked about or said. What if people start seeing that this is a successful model and there is nowhere else you can go do this? Replit and Lovable are not competition. Replit and Lovable could actually start using ICP's infrastructure also, because ICP does not own Caffeine AI. Once Replit and Lovable, if they see enough people using Caffeine AI and they realize the only place they can do decentralized hosting, the only place they can do decentralized apps, the only place they can do all the cool things like this particular game I built that's going to be hooked to a wallet, or all these other prediction wallets that I'm going to do, and all these other prediction games I'm going to put on Caffeine Play. Once they see this mature, guess what they're going to do? They're going to come out and say, hey, we can also build on ICP. No one has ever talked about this. These multi-billion-dollar companies are going to wake up one day and say, we can't compete against Caffeine AI because they do something we don't. How do we also do it? And the answer is going to be, there's only one way of doing it: by integrating within ICP. And ICP now could get customers from Replit, Lovable, other AI companies could all start basically integrating within the ICP ecosystem, using it to secure all their Web3 needs. This is something no one's talking about. This goes way past $100. This is not going to happen in 2026. It might go into 2027 or 2028, but $100 will be the floor. Top 3 will be the floor of where this thing goes, if you have the vision and understanding of where this thing is going to go. And I'm not there yet, but you're going to see some big numbers soon, okay? So I went a little bit step further, okay? All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at this from what happens if they get 10,000 users. We're going to see what happens if they get 100,000 users, and what happens if they get 1 million users right now, okay? Replit and Lovable are already over 1 million users. It's very conceivable, so can Caffeine AI within a year, because that's about how long it's taken them. Very conceivable, sometime in 2026, maybe 2027, it has 1 million users. Very, very conceivable. Maybe more, okay? So let's look at it. Okay, how the money flows. Caffeine AI earns revenues, keeps this as income, right? Caffeine AI must run all compute on ICP. To run compute, they must purchase cycles. Cycles create burning ICP. More usage, more cycles, more ICP burned. Okay, keep all that in mind. Caffeine AI equals ICP burning machine. Separate company, but directly pumps the token. So keep all that in mind when we talk about these numbers, okay? Estimating ICP burns based on user growth. These numbers are conservative. AI inferences is expensive as hell, okay? Keep all this in mind, okay? So let's say a light user is 50 to 200 queries a day. Pro user is 500 to 2,000 queries. So, it's giving you kind of a high and a low, all right? 10,000 users paying $29 a month. On the low end, you're going to burn 30,000 to 60,000 burn monthly, which is about 360,000 to 720,000 ICP burns yearly. It's nice. ICP is kind of burning around this much itself, but 10,000 users is a very, very low number, okay? So we're looking at a very, very, very low number. Now, I think what might be more realistic is 100,000 paying customers. And also, if Caffeine AI raises a few $100 million, it's going to need more than 100,000 paying customers to appease the people who are investing in it, okay? So, for example, let's see Caffeine AI is 100,000 paying customers, which I think is also a very low number. Well, guess what? It's 300,000 to 600,000 burned monthly ICP, okay? So you're talking 10,000 to 20,000 a day. We've had some days like that with Bob, and some other stuff. Still very good numbers. It brings down inflation significantly. 3.6 million to 7.2 million burns a year brings inflation down very significantly. Not completely. I believe there would still be some inflation at that point, but this does, with the burns that's going on right now, actually makes ICP one of the best tokenomics out there. So 100,000 users would basically, with what ICP burns are all already going on. And this doesn't take into account also the burns from the marketplace and just maybe a heavy usage app or something of that nature that really catches on fire, and all the other places people are going to be doing some things with. So on top of all that, this could be higher, but let's stick with conservative numbers. Like this said, let's use conservative numbers. This is conservative. I realistically think this will be 9 or 10 million burns, but even then, you could say there'd be some inflation in the system with the current burns that they're getting. Okay, so we'll let it go. Looks good though, 100,000. Now, what happens when we get to 1 million users? Now, do I think we can get to 1 million users? I do, but not right away. It could take a year, it could take 2 years. But I eventually think if Caffeine AI system is that great, it will get to 1 million users. It will become very, very profitable, and it will become the de facto Web3, Web2 app for crypto, especially with everything that's going on, tokenization, real world assets. You can actually use this system for all of that stuff. I mean, it's unlimited what you can make Shopify apps, you can make so much stuff on it. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Once you get to 1 million users, and keep in mind, it could be even half of this and it would still be good. 500,000 users, because Replit and Lovable are already at these numbers. In fact, they're going beyond these numbers, okay? They're already at 1 million users and they're going even higher. So keep that in mind. We can definitely get to 1 million users, okay? 1 million users as the benchmark. We can get there, okay? This is 3 to 6 million burned monthly, which is going to equal to 36 to 72 million tokens burned yearly. And this is where it gets very, very interesting. When you're burning this much, your activity on the marketplace is also going to go up. Your activity on ICP is also going to go up. So it's kind of like this whole the whole ecosystem kind of just expands together, okay? So all of a sudden, you're going to go from burning 72 million, realistically, it'll be like 80 or 90 million. There's only 540 million tokens. You can burn 70, 80, 90, even 100 million tokens in a year. You tell me which other token has burns like that in all of crypto. There is none. Nothing comes close. Nothing will ever come close. That is the power, and that is at 1 million users. And if Caffeine AI really takes off, goes from, let's say, 100,000 users to 500,000 users to 1 million users, you can bet long term it'll go to 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million users, because that's, people are using these apps more and more and more. These lovables and these replits are becoming more and more used. They're becoming part of corporate culture, becoming part of corporations. They're becoming their life of daily users by people. I'm going to have a subscription, $29 a month. People are using these more and more, and it's going to become just another subscription you have, like a Netflix subscription or whatever subscription you have to Shopify, all of those apps. It's going to be like that. You have to start to understand that the cycles burned here. Let's go out a year from now. If we can burn this much ICP in a year, ICP will for sure be $100. Not only will it be $100, probably be over $100. And at that point, you're probably going to be looking at 1.5 or 2 million or even 3 million users. What happens at that point? ICP will be basically absolutely a top 3 token. There is no doubt in my mind at that point. It'll be it'll be Bitcoin, ETH, ICP. That's it. I don't think it's gonna outtake either of those. I don't see it at all. But I do see it being up there. It could fall behind maybe XRP or Solana, depending on where they go to. So it might be in the top 5, but it has a shot of having the best tokenomics, the best asymmetrical bet. What is an asymmetrical bet that you can make right now in crypto? The best asymmetrical bet means it's like 364 right now, right? Basically, it's free. It's $3.64 right now. What's the downside? Went down, where is this? 280, and then it had this crash here. It went down to $2. I think it went into dollars, but I think this was bullshit right here. 280 looks like the downside. So if you're in it at 360, what's your downside? Losing a third of it to 280, let's say 250. Let's say even if you lose 50% of it. of your value. But what is your upside? So you can lose 50% of your money, but what is your upside? Upside is $100, $200, $300. Depends on how long you're willing to wait. Obviously, the longer you wait, the more money you can make, depending on how well Caffeine AI makes. This is an asymmetrical bet if I have ever seen one. Not only is it an asymmetrical bet, it is probably one of the best asymmetrical plays I have ever seen in stocks, in crypto, anywhere. Your downside, if you put, for example, $100,000, let's not even $100,000. Let's say $1,000. You could lose $500, or you can make $100,000. If I told you, you got to hold this for the next 2 to 3 years and it could be worth $100 a token, you put $1,000 in it as a chance that you can go to $100,000, or you'll get $500, probably worst case scenario. Sure, things can always go to zero. Sure, it's possible. Things can happen. I don't think this is the case, but it could. But let's say that is the asymmetrical bet that you get presented. I would take that bet. In fact, I have taken that bet. That's why I own so much ICP, and I'm continuing to buy more ICP. This, to me, is one of the clearest asymmetrical best bets that I have seen, period. Does not exist anything better than this. In all of stocks and all of crypto, there is nothing better than this. Why this is extremely bullish for ICP? More users, more compute, more cycles, more ICP burned, supply shrinks, price rises, more builders come, more usage, more burns. It's this continual cycle. And we've seen this kind of cycle work for ETH when it went from 80 to 4,800. I was there during the whole ICO moment. That was the ETH moment where all the ICOs were happening. And then they had all the DeFi stuff happening. But it was really the ICOs that really put ETH from pennies and went over to 1,000. It was all those ICOs that were happening. And then sold from 3 to 250, which was basically the meme stuff that, well, before it was something else, but then it became memes the second time it happened. So there's a catalyst for all of these things. ICP has one of the best catalysts that I have seen. And the difference is you can kind of see this one building. You can see it in real time, okay? That is what is going on. So hopefully that gives you guys a better idea of where things are going to go. You know, this move to $9.50, almost $9.80, $10, you know, kind of came out of nowhere. It was very bizarre when it happened and how it happened, but I think this was kind of like a prelude. People just discovering the stuff. Once Caffeine AI launches on December 15th, I think a lot of people are going to wake up. I think a lot of people are going to go, I think the coverage is going to start. That's what was happening right around here when this was blowing out. Rand from Crypto Banner was talking about it. Other people were talking about it. Everyone got excited and sent it literally to 950, 3x'd it. The question is, when are we going to go up and we're going to hold and we're going to just keep building off it? That's going to have to come with real adoption, real revenues. And that's what Caffeine AI starting on December 15th is going to start. That's where it's going to kick off. That is what I'm going to be most excited about. That's what I want to see. That's going to be our moment. Now, it might have some more pumps like this where it goes to 9 and 10 and 20 and 30 and comes back down because there are a lot of old ICP wallets that will be wanting to get out, that see the liquidity and sell out. Yes, that will happen. But eventually those wallets will be gone and now it will be held by real long-term holders. But to get in at $3.60 compared to what's out there at a $2 billion market cap, $2 billion for all of this, for basically the next, being able to invest in the next AWS of AI. It's basically AWS and AI and like NVIDIA, all an NVIDIA kind of AI system. I mean, and decentralized and crypto. I mean, how do you even come up with the valuation for this? You know? So that's my take. Hopefully this clears up some stuff. Caffeine AI and ICP are not one company. We should not be using Lovable and Replit valuations. I did it. I think a lot of other people started using those valuations too. I saw Fabio and a couple other guys use it. It is wrong. We cannot use those valuations. What we have to use is the metrics that I brought up, which is by the users. The users will be the most important things that we could use. The users are going to be the user base of Caffeine AI and how much compute power they use will become the determining factor in adoption and the power and what will power ICP's price. I think it's going to be absolutely explosive. in ways that we haven't even seen yet. This is a tip of the iceberg. We're in this very early. I would probably tell you guys to buckle up. And I don't think it's necessarily going to happen right away, right after it goes live. But I'd like to see how much Caffeine AI raises. More money they raise, the better. I hope they raise hundreds of millions. I hope they raise billions of dollars, because all of that marketing is going to be used to bring more users and burn cycles to ICP. So understand how they symbiotically are going to work together. And eventually, Lovable and Replit, I guarantee you, or someone else at some point, will also come onto ICP. And when that happens, that is not even in these calculations. When that happens, you guys will see things that we can't even imagine. We don't know where this stuff is going. That is why you need to own some ICP. Even if you don't believe in it, and even if you're just out there watching it, own a little bit, because we don't know what's going to happen here. We still don't know. This could be $100, it could be $1,000. That is how extreme this is. We don't know. It is the biggest asymmetrical trade, and I want everyone to own at least a little bit of it. Even if it's like 10 tokens or 20 tokens, own a little bit of it, because we might see history take place here like we have never seen. Okay? And that is only off 1 or 2 million users. What happens if one day, this, between all this and Caffeine AI and a couple other AI systems, they get 5 million or 6 million or 7 million or 10 million users? This is worldwide, guys. What happens then? That's the question to ask. And that's not right away. That would take a couple years. But what happens then? The burns would be insane. The price will be insane. That is what you need to think about. That is being very optimistic. But I am an optimist. I am not a pessimist like a lot of these people saying crypto's over and all this stuff. I am an optimist. The people who make the most money over the years are the optimists, and people who have the vision. Have the vision and have the optimism of understanding how all these things are connected to each other and what is potentially about to happen. Anyway, guys, best of luck. Take care.